What do you think are the mistakes that people are doing in raising their children? I'm going to show you the mistakes. And then what is the correct thing to do in order to give you the ideal picture. So mistake number 1 is children do not listen to what the parents say. The mistake is that the parents believe the children listen and so they talk to them. And it's actually a waste of time. Children do not listen, they don't listen to what you say. Why? Because children listen to what you do and not what you say. This is key. Children listen to what you do and not what you say. And before you understand that, you will talk until you're blue in your face. But they will not do anything. And if you will look at yourself, you will see that you behave like your parents, even if you didn't admire them. And you fix a little bit of a confront and looking. But you really need to understand that children do not listen to children. Look. Now let's look at you. Okay, let's look at you for a second. Do you read every day when you come home from work? Probably not. Some of you may be yes. But do you expect your children to read the books? If they don't read, look, do you read? Do you smoke and expect them not to smoke? Do you do homework as soon as you come from work? No. So why do you ask them to do homework? They will not do their homework, and even if they were, you really have to understand that there is children look at their parents as the most important people on earth. For children, the mother most important. The second is the father. And the third is God. And then they speak up. So for children, parents are more important than God. So if they're more important than God, they would want to do exactly what their parents are doing. And this is what actually happens. And that's why you will see the children act the mannerism of the parents. They talk like the parents, they walk like the parents, they behave like the friends, they copy them. Actually, the way the children learn a language is by mimicking, and they learn everything by mimicking. If you would put a child with a dog, and he will think that the dog is the parent, he will start barking, and this is unfortunately an experiment that has been done. So children look at you. Do you watch TV? Is the TV is on and you are watching TV, and you want them not to watch TV? Do you take and talk nicely to your parents or not? Like I was in the Children Counseling Academy, and then the one guy talked to me and he tells me about how many problems he has with his children and all the way, and how they are not behaving and forcing his years old, and how many problems he has. And he got a call from his mom. And he stopped, he talked to his mom, like unbelievable, like really rude to her. And he put the phone down and he said to me, and my children are not talking nicely to me. And I said, but did you hear how you talk to your mom? And it took him like a few seconds to realize that he actually not talking nicely to his mom. And of course, his children would not be nicer to him. And how is the relationship with your spouse? Do you talk nicely to your spouse? How do you be happy to your spouse? The way that you have to your spouse, this is the way that your children would behave to each other, this is the way that they will be happy to you. Common mistake number 2. It is a very interesting mistake. So people think that children are a life form. Now explain what I mean. There are all kinds of species that are plants, that neighbors, animals, people, and children. That's what parents think. Most parents have the hidden concept that says children are different kinds of species. Now, how do I know that? I look at parents' actions towards the child. The shouting at them, they dragging the body with force. They talk about the kids with others, in the presence of the kid, they ignoring the child's opinion. They get angry with the child and all kinds of other things. Now, if I will behave to you, the way that you behave to your child, you will kill me. There is no doubt about it. The only reason you behave to your child the way that you will behave because you have a misconception of what the child is. He is not a different species, he is not different life form. A child is an adult with a small body. The baby from the day that he was born already has opinions and is getting upset, is getting insulted, is getting happy, is getting worried. He has the whole gamut of emotion that an adult has. And if you don't understand it, you will act to him as though he is a different life form. But children are not a different life form. They are adult with small bodies. If you will remember that, you will behave to them in a totally different manner. And of course, that will behave to you in a different way. If you just be honest and look at the way that you behave to your children, or if you remember the way that your parents be asked to you, you will see that you actually, if an adult will do it to you, you will not agree, you will protest. But because children love the parents so much, they willing to forgive them for all the bad behavior up to the age of about 13, 14, 15. And then they say no more. Mistake number 3 is mistaking the result of the child action with his intention. And this is if you will get that thing, all your problem will go, but probably it will take 10 to 20 lessons before this thing will fully sink in. So here is it: anything the child is doing, he or she is doing with good intention, even in cases of bad execution. The correct action would always validate the intention and ignore the result. This is super important. I have never seen one child up to today that had a bad intention. I have seen many children that have bad results. I've seen many adults that had the bad intention. I have never seen a child with bad intention. Mistake number 4. Thinking that the child wants to cause aggravation to the parent. Many times parents think that the child is there to upset them. Well, here's the truth. The truth is that the child always does what he considered to be right from his viewpoint. Now, what right from his viewpoint? Not always right from your viewpoint. But he has a viewpoint. He is an adult with a small body. If he doesn't want to get into the shower, from his viewpoint, it's incorrect. Now, if I will force you to go to shower when I want you to go to shower, you will be upset with me. But somehow you think that it's okay with children. It's not. And I can tell you that I had the periods that my child did not take his shoes out for a week. It was dangerous after a week when he did take it out. But his self-determinism, him feeling that he is the boss of his own body, is more important than what happened without shoes or how thinking it was. It doesn't want to get out of the shower. After he didn't want to go into the shower, you convinced him to go in, then he doesn't want to go out. That's what's right from his viewpoint. If you're in the shower and you're having fun, and I will come in and say, okay, that's it, I'm turning off the water, you will be very upset with me. The truth, the child does not want to be controlled or to be forced to do things. This is the truth. Like you don't want to do that. So if you will force him, he will push back. If you get to an agreement with him, he will agree with you. I'll give you just an example on agreement. Every time we left the house, when my first son was very small, he will cry. And one day, I came up with this idea. And I said, you know what, before we going out, we're going to tell him that he has to push us out, which means that he is going to be the cause, not us. Yes. And we would stand at the garage door and he will push us, and we would play for 5 to 7 minutes, that he will push us and we will come back and he will push us and we'll come back, and it was a big game. And he managed eventually to push us out. Normal cry. It just unbelievable. They just want to because they don't want to be controlled. They want to control thing exactly like you said. It is quite unbelievable. Common mistake number 5. Forcing a child to do things. The slave always somehow broke the chains. If you want your child to be a slave to your opinions, he will break the chain covertly. So if the child understands, he always acts correctly in a pro-survival manner. The only time that a child does not act correctly is because he did not understand. So if a child does not act correctly, you fail to explain, it's not his problem. Because it's your job to explain it to him. Okay? Children do not understand why they are showering. So if the child actually understands, he will take a shower. You will not need to do anything about it. Brushing the teeth. If you don't get them to understand why, they will not do that. If they understand, they will do it by themselves. Plenty of 1,000 hours at school without the real purpose. You send the child to school and from the age of 6 to the age of 18. They spend more or less 20,000 hours. If you don't actually work out with the child, why is he going to school? If he cannot understand it, he will hate school. Common mistake number 6. Acting without a clear and pro-survival purpose. Many times the adults doing the action without an actual purpose. They do it because they got upset. They do it because someone told them that they should do it. They do it because this is what their parents did. But they don't have an actual clearly defined pro-survival purpose. Okay, so here it is, you must ask yourself, what is the purpose of what I'm saying or doing to the child? Ask if the purpose is pro-survival act. Pro-survival means something that will bring the greatest survival to the greatest number of people to that gets to the chart. Are you forcing to study? Why should they study? Now, of course, I'm not against him studying. But he needs to have a purpose. Because if not, he will not remember anything. And he will not be able to use it, and actually forcing him will make it even more stupid. Children that has been forced to study are working for those people that never studied. More successful businessmen never studied. And I'm not talking about if you want to be an engineer. I'm talking about most successful businessmen did not studied. They stopped going to school when they were 13, 14, 15. I am not saying that it's the right thing to do. I'm saying that it's better than forcing the child. The best thing to do is to find with the child the pro-survival purpose. I'll give an example. My son for a long time in Florida will insist to go with long sleeve shirt and pants. For me, it's terrible. He loved it. We'll let him do that. Now, other parents will not let him do that. Or maybe yes, but most parents will not. For probably, I don't know, 3-4 months, my son slept in a box. That's what he wanted. That's what we'll let him do. He wants to stick in a box, sleep in a box. As long that is not endangering his life, I will allow him to do it. That's the basic principle because it's his life. And I will find a pro-survival purpose if I want to change him. But he will have to find the pro-survival purpose. I would just help him to find it. Because if I will force it on him, it will not work. So ask yourself why. Why do I want to achieve? If you really have this thing totally clear for you, your child will be amazing. Common mistake number 7, acting before the real why has been isolated. For every single problem in the universe, there is a real reason for the problem, and there is infinite number of excuses. Every problem in the universe. So if a problem has not been solved, it's only because the red wire has not been isolated. And you're dealing with some kind of an excuse. So always find the real why. Otherwise, the handling will always be wrong. Now there is a specific way to isolate the real why. I'm just telling you what's the mistake right now. I'm not telling you the way to handle it. But the mistake is that you operating on the wrong why. Every time you have non-optimum solution. Every time the result that you get is not the result that you want. It is because you operated on wrong why. You did not isolate the real why. For example, a child has attention deficit disorder, you act on the wrong way, you will give him written in, of course, yes, it is not acting on the wrong why, on the right, read why. And because of that, you're doing something that damaging. A child fights with another after a long time, the kid abused the child. If you don't find why they actually fighting, you would just need to use force to handle the fights. But you didn't handle the fight. You destroyed the kid. If any area of your life is not optimal, you operating on wrong why. You don't have the real reason for the problem. So the problem grows. You when you act on the reason for a problem, the problem grows. He wants different claws. Any one of those things you need to find the real why and the problem will go away. So try to find out what the child problem really is. And weed out crashing the own solution. Try to help them to solve. So you need to know how to find the real why, and you need to help your kids to find the red why, and once they do, everything is wonderful. Thank you very much.